Hello and welcome to World Talks with me, Ashim Kumar. Hungary's political landscape faces another unexpected turn after chess legend Judit Polgár declined Prime Minister Péter Magyar's invitation to become the country's next president. Her decision highlights the challenges of finding a unifying figure in a deeply divided society. Joining us is István Szent-Iványi. He's former Hungarian State Secretary of Foreign Affairs. Welcome to TVP World, and thank you very much for taking the time, István.
Good evening, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good evening, welcome. So, a big surprise. Was this expected? Did some people think it might be possible?
It is a fiasco for the government, a first fiasco for the government, because they announced, the Prime Minister Magyar, that he would like to ask Judit Polgár, the chess championship, for that position. She is very popular in Hungary. She has a broad authority and she has been broadly supported, but she declined. She said the country is so much divided that she couldn't feel so much strength in herself that she can unite the nation, and therefore she is not taking the position. That is a fiasco in a sense that he announced, and it sounds that it's almost sure that she will be the president. And turned out that there was no any agreement in advance. And now they are looking for a new candidate. They have time, according to their constitution, they have 30 days. In 30 days should find a new candidate. There are many proposals, many suggestions, and finally the TISA parliamentary group will select who will be the candidate, and for sure will be the president of the country. The first round for election of the president needs two-thirds majority. They have more than two-thirds majority, but in the second or the third round, simple majority can be elected.
Understood, but I just want to go back to Judit Polgár for a second. She said she didn't feel strong enough to bring together such a divided country. How divided is Hungary? What did she mean by this?
Hungary is very much divided, of course. As you know, that Fidesz has got a 16 years rule, and it has still hardcore support electorate, but it is a minority. It's an absolute minority. Around the latest polls, 72% supports the government and TISA party. Therefore, divided, of course, but not so divided as half-half. It's divided three quota against one quota, but this one quota is very vocal. It's a vocal minority, and they are very much against that. They announced that they are not taking part in any election procedure because they find it's illegal. They said that the removal of the previous president was absolutely illegal and illegitimate, and therefore they do not participate in that and do not support any candidate. Even a Fidesz candidate, they wouldn't support now because they say that the whole procedure is illegal.
Understood. Now, we're talking about a replacement for Judit Polgár, and one of the attractions that Péter Magyar pointed out was that she was neutral. She was well respected. She had an international profile, and the fact that she had no political experience was actually an advantage. Are there other people like that or with that profile that he's looking for, or is the remainder of the list all political people in politics already?
In my view, Judit Polgár was an excellent candidate, a very rare and very excellent candidate, and it won't be easy to find someone who has so many good characters that fit into the framework that Péter Magyar set up. He said the new candidate should be absolutely independent, non-partisan, above the parties, and should have an international recognition and acknowledgement, and should have a big performance in his or her profession as a lawyer or as a scientist or as a sportsman or any kind of course, not easy to find someone who is fits into that category, and he's ready to undertake the position, because that was the problem with Judit Polgár, that she fits completely and excellently into this framework, but she was not ready to take it, and it may happen that the other candidates can decline the opportunity or possibility. Therefore, I suppose Peter Magyar will be more cautious. He has got tonight a new statement, and he said that he is responsible for this fiasco, and now they are going along this more careful and cautiously, and they find someone and they will propose someone who is ready to undertake it, and most hopefully he can unite the nation. It's not an easy task, of course. As you know, that we have got a very harsh campaign, a very tough, very harsh smear campaign, mostly on behalf of the ruling party Fidesz, the previous ruling party Fidesz, and now it's very difficult to consolidate the situation in Hungary.
Right, but I mean, the president or the president's role is a ceremonial one, that the president doesn't really have that much political power. It's much more he or she is a representative of the country, especially overseas. So why would there be such resistance to it? In the sense that, what does the president do to bring a united country together? I mean, does that simply mean supported by all sides? What does it mean?
The good president, according to the expectations, someone who has a moral authority and who can send out some moral messages to the society and to calm down the situation. And he has some real power, because he has sent the legislation to the Constitutional Court, for instance, and he can blockade also with us the appointment of the ambassadors, appointment of the high representatives, the high government positions, and so on. He has some position. Of course, he doesn't have a real executive power, but he has some moral power, and we did have some president. For instance, Gönc, the first president, does have. He was broadly supported and appreciated by the country, by the people, and also Tamás Sólyom, that was also a president who has a strong moral authority. Unfortunately, most of the presidents did not have it. Mostly they have been the party loyalists. It's not good if they are party loyalists. We need someone who is really above them. That was a major problem with Sólyom. Sólyom was an absolute party loyalist, and even in his past and in his activities, that was many shortcomings and many problems that the people dislike and did not accept. And he was very unpopular and very weightless. It doesn't have any weight in the political procedure. And he did not raise the voice, when, for instance, against the tough campaign and the harsh campaign, and did not say that stop it, it's not good, you should go along the civilized rules and procedures and so on. Therefore, we expect someone this. Of course, he cannot make any wonder or any magic. We know that. But at least a good president can contribute to the reconciliation.
Now, one of the criticisms that Peter Magyar is facing is that he is basically changing the goalposts, in effect, to get rid of Orbán's cronies in government, in the Constitutional Court, the president, former president, and so on. So he's basically behaving like Orbán did. What would you say to those criticisms?
I do not agree with that. But of course, it's very important that they should have some counterbalances. And therefore, it's important, for instance, that the president should not be a party loyalist. And in that sense, for Judit Polgár, it's a good candidate. And I hope so that the next candidate will be also similar, that he is not a party crony. And even many appointments so far was accepted by the large public opinion as an independent person in many positions, like for instance in the broadcast, in the public broadcast and some others. He doesn't look only for party loyalists. That was one of the major problems with Fidesz, that was a state capture, that they put in every position very loyal persons. They were not interested in the quality, in the professionalism or in the quality, but the most important thing that was they should be absolutely loyal.
I absolutely understand that, but I was actually referring to the fact that the former president, Solyot, has actually been forced out. Members of parliament have a term limit of 12 years, changes to the Constitutional Court. I mean, it's those actions that have put Peter Magyar in the firing line, because people are saying, well, you're behaving the way that Orbán used to by doing those things. Would you agree with those criticisms?
Not at all. You know, it's a big difference that Orbán did similar things in favor of dismantle the rule of law. And now they are doing the same thing to reconstruct the rule of law and democracy. That's completely different. You know, everything depends on that if you accept that Hungary was not a real democracy, a functional democracy, and it was not ruled by law, then you can understand that and accept it. Of course, the Fidesz position, the opposition position now, that it was a rule of law-based democracy before, and now it is against, as an attack against the rule of law and democracy. It is not true. It was not a real democracy. It was a state capture, and they should dismantle, and cannot dismantle in otherwise, only with that method. It looked like it's brutal sometimes and harsh and tough, but that's the only way to get rid of them. President Lech Walesa visited a few days ago Budapest, and he sent out a very interesting and important message, which has got a large echo in the Hungarian society. He said that he thinks that Hungary should not make the same mistake as Poland did, that did not, he literally said, did not send in jail the perpetrators of the previous regime. And that's his advice for the new government, that they should bring before the court the perpetrators and so on.
Understood.
Even in the Hungarian society now, there is some discontent.
I'm sorry to have to interrupt you, István, but unfortunately the clock has beaten us. Do come and see us again soon as things develop. Have a good evening, sir.
Good evening, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of World Talks. Don't go away, lots more coming up. Goodbye.